The Twitter hashtag #StopIslam was trending yesterday in the wake of the Brussels terror attack. Some of the tweets were obviously totally against Muslims. Others were actually in defense of Muslims. Later on, after the waterfall of ones that were against Islam and against Muslims, came the ones that were like, well, pump your brakes, and, you know, they gave reasons why they think the opposite is true. So I want to go through some of the tweets with you and then give you my general breakdown of it. So the first one here is, Stop Islam. Islam is a religion, not a race, not a nationality, so stop saying I'm a racist for opposing it. You look dumb as hell. Another one. Why is Stop Islam trending? It should be Stop ISIS. Black shooter equals entire race guilty. Muslim shooter equals entire religion guilty. White shooter equals mentally disturbed lone wolf. All right, more, let's continue. You cannot stop Islam, and you cannot stop terrorism without Muslims as allies. Cut the crap already. You're wasting time and energy. Next, Stop Islam is trending. Strange because I didn't see Stop Christianity trending when Anders Breivik murdered 77 people and injured 319 people. Stop Islam is a ridiculous hashtag. ISIS has killed far more Muslims than anyone else. Stop Ignorance should be trending. Stop Islam does not equal Stop Muslims. Being critical of the former does not equate to bigotry against the latter. Can we do, and this is the next one, sorry, and the last one here. Can we do hashtag Stop Religion instead of hashtag Stop Islam? Seems a bit fairer. All right, so overall here, what you have is liberals are mostly saying that Islam is peace and religion in general is peace, and mostly conservatives are saying, well, Islam is violence and Islam is terrorism, and we have to call that out. Now, where do I fall on this debate? Now, you guys know, going all the way back to the Bill Maher, Ben Affleck, Sam Harris thing, and the subsequent fallout when you had people like Glenn Greenwald and Cenk Uygur get involved, and listening to all the arguments from everybody, I came to the conclusion, much to the dismay of many people in my audience, for a variety of different reasons, because I think many people fall in both camps, that I'm actually somewhere in the middle between both of them. And I think that this hashtag is a good example for me to step in again and just give my general breakdown of the situation, and why I still to this day say I'm somewhat in the middle. Now, that doesn't mean that on every point I'm in the middle. That would be absurd. Because on some points, I think the so-called new atheists are right, and on other points, I think the progressives are right. But overall here, basically my takeaway is they're both right because, for example, Christianity gave us Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and it gave us the KKK. Now, when you look at Islam, that gave us Al-Qaeda, and that also gave us Malala Yousafzai. Now, some people would say, well, there are certain interpretations of the different religions that are more straightforward than others, so therefore, you know, Malala Yousafzai is less Muslim than Al-Qaeda or ISIS or Osama bin Laden. I'm not willing to come to that conclusion and make that declarative statement, because I actually believe that you have people in all the different religions that cherry-pick different things. Now, again, you might say the most straightforward interpretation is X of all the different religions, but that doesn't change the fact that there are people in the different religions that sometimes cherry-pick the positive parts, and sometimes there are many who cherry-pick the negative parts. So the hashtag that I would have used instead of Stop Islam is hashtag Stop Fundamentalism, because I'm against all kinds of fundamentalism. I'm against Christian fundamentalists, I'm against Muslim fundamentalists, and I'm against, you know, what you can call, even though it's not the exactly right term, right-wing fundamentalists. So I'm against neo-Nazis, and I'm against fascists, and I'm against imperialists. And here's the main point. When you frame it as Stop Islam, And that's true. Like, I agree. Let's stop Islam. Okay? Like, I don't agree with religion. Let's stop all religion. But when you frame it as just stop Islam, people are going to look at that as, whether or not you're actually saying this, people are going to look at it as, oh, you just want to stop that religion, which means you think all people in that religion are bad and people in other religions not so bad. So, therefore, you are generalizing about Muslims. You are saying they're particularly wrong and bad and evil. And what's going to happen is they will shut down. Nobody's going to listen to you. And that's why I think many of the tweets that were in hashtag Stop Islam that were in favor of it, it was kind of hijacked by right-wingers. Like, it wasn't points that I would consider rational in the Stop Islam hashtag. Like, a Stop Islam tweet that I would consider rational is hashtag Stop Islam because it's not true. Or hashtag Stop Islam because it is potentially dangerous when fundamentalists or literalists or extremists implement their interpretation. Obviously, that's a longer tweet than might even be possible, but you get my point. So it wasn't like nuanced things. It was hijacked by idiots like Steven Crowder, who pretended like, in a tweet bashing Islam, he pretended like global warming isn't happening. Like, what are you doing? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So, unfortunately, the Stop Islam hashtag was just hijacked by right-wingers, and many of these right-wingers, indeed, are bigots. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody who uses that hashtag or everybody that wants to stop Islam is a bigot. In fact, I think the opposite is true. And I think one of the tweets here is exactly right when they say, to say you want to stop a religion and you disagree with the ideology is not bigotry at all. In fact, it's almost the opposite. It's you saying, I'm against the bigoted verses in a given religion. So I agree with that, and I want to be clear with everybody up front about that. I agree with the idea of stopping Islam. I agree with the idea of stopping Christianity. I agree with the idea of stopping religion because religion, by definition, is faith. Religion is a suspension of critical thinking and just following an ideology because you happen to be born into it. Okay, and don't get me wrong, obviously, the liberal religious people are preferable and better and great compared to the fundamentalists who believe the negative parts and act on the negative parts. But we need to be nuanced and distinct about this and say very clearly that, yeah, religion is a problem because faith by its nature is toxic. I will believe things without evidence, then who knows what the fuck you're going to do and how you're going to act because you just said, I'm going to turn over my brain to this thing, this cult, this group. So, yeah, I would like to hashtag stop religion while fully understanding at the same time that it is better politically for everybody when among religious people there are many more liberal religious people and moderate religious people and open-minded religious people, or people that either blow off their holy book completely who are really secular, or they look at it and they cherry-pick the positive parts and they say, this is what I believe. But overall, yes, religion is dangerous, whether it's Islam, Christianity, or any other, because as a general rule, especially with the biggest religions, you have about half the holy books are just savage, brutal nonsense, and the other half might be lovely stuff, but why go to any book if said book is filled with 25% or 50% violent, savage nonsense? Okay? And I know there are some people who would say, no, the positive parts, that's true religion. The positive parts are the true ones, and that's the peaceful parts. So that's the real religion. No, but neither one of you are right when you say that. Do you not get that? So the fundamentalists aren't right when they say, our religion is violent and that's the only interpretation that makes sense. No, that's wrong. But the people who are in favor of peace are also not right when they say, only the peaceful parts count. No, you're both wrong. You're both fucking cherry picking, and this is dueling cherry pickers. Which is why I do say, hashtag stop religion, not just stop Islam. But also, and more importantly, it should be hashtag stop fundamentalism, because I'm against fundamentalists and literalists in all the different religions.